What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Wine in the Stars. I'm Jordan, and we are back today with another episode of the Yesterday's Enterprise build series and the 1701C. Now, if you watched one of more recent episodes of the Defiant build series, and you should, I purchased this curved line tape from AK. Overall, it seemed like it worked pretty well, but when I peeled the tape, I wound up with just a ton of bleed, and I was really disappointed, and we're making moves to rectify that, and you guys will see that soon. But it forced me to really think about it. The cost of the Tamiya curved line tape was kind of expensive. I was trying to save a little bit of costs here and there. I tend to go with the proper, quality of product, as we're going along. But I was just like, $11 for a roll of tape. I'm not quite sure. So the results on the Defiant were very disappointing. And so I decided to go ahead and pick up a roll of the Tamiya curved line tape. I have already gone ahead and taped. It's taken me about an hour and a half to tape off my lines for this episode. And I can already tell you right now that there is an incredibly marked improvement in quality and ease of use. The AK product is thicker. It is much more difficult to get into a curved line and then lay flat. The Tamiya tape is nice and thin, stretches really well, and really just lays flat in a perfect little circle. I see a little bit of a tape overlap here. There we go. So yeah, I've noticed already a marked improvement in the quality level of the Tamiya tape, and of course, we're going to see a marked improvement of that. So the experiment today, as you see the name of the episode today, is going to be whether or not it is actually worth it, and then if so, I am going to go ahead and replace all of my curved line tape. Set this aside for other projects. It's good electrical tape, so that's what I do know. But I'm going to replace all of my curved line tape with the Tamiya, and something tells me that I just need to prepare for it. I did pick up the 5mm for this project today, and I think that, the 10mm is going to be good for other things, but I'm really happy with the 5mm. It was really easy to work with. My fingertip, however, hurts from pushing down and going and going and going. In the next episode, as we move on to the engineering section and start getting our blue onto there, you will see how we're applying our curved line tape. I'm just kind of obsessed with it now, so I want to use it. But I want to see how this works. So we have our thin lines marked off here. And what we've done since the last time, I have picked up the Aztec dummy. We're going to be using the Aztec dummy for the phaser strips, the windows, and then the escape pods. I imagine that the rest of the Aztec dummy, the set, I'll hold on to, maybe use later on down the line. I've been collecting decals and a bunch of other things. What I've decided is to go with the third color being a dark gray. And I think it's going to be a really great color to add to the mix here. And we're going to be doing all of our accent lining. So everything that's marked off, all of our thin, tiny little lines that we have are going to be done in our dark gray. And what I have here is the lacquer paint from Tamiya, and it's the German gray. And I've decided that this is going to be our dark Federation hull color going forward. It worked really, really well on the Defiant, where it did not get messed up. So we're going to be sticking with this as our base color for basically all of our dark Federation paint going forward. And we're going to be doing our stripes here, and then on the bottom, down here in this grill area. And then I went ahead and I've taped off our three areas here. We're going to be doing a stripe here, a stripe here, and a stripe here. And, I see that there's a little bit of tape that kind of popped off here. We'll go ahead and pull that. So basically all I'm doing is just kind of pulling the tape. And setting it in place. And it was just the very end, and I didn't seat it properly. Well, and that's fine. But yeah, we're going to be using the dark gray inside of all our panel lines, and that's going to be basically just the third accent color on this model. So that's kind of the decision that I made. And then in the next episode, like I said, we're going to be moving on to getting the blue onto our engineering section, and then we'll move on to the pylons and the nacelles. We'll see how, like, the progression of this model as we go along. We'll kind of see we'll see how we're going to wind up painting it. I imagine that with the Aztec decals coming over the top, the Aztec dummy decals, like for the windows and such like that, it's going to be a pretty complicated build. So we'll see kind of how it goes. I mean, it's going to be a hybrid thing. Like I said, this is a custom paint job. So we're going to go ahead and start, however, on the top, and then I'm going to go ahead and move our tape out of the way because we're not going to need this. And I'll go ahead and put our saucer off to the side. And let's go ahead and start with our gray color. I'm really fascinated. I'm taking a risk here. I've done a really good job of, like, pushing down. My fingers hurt. So, yeah, we're just taking a bit of a risk here, and, like, we're just going to do things and paint. So, yeah, you got my nice flat brush. Picked up some new brushes, and got a nice flat brush here loaded up. And we're going to do 3 coats over the top. I'm going to do the first coat with you. And then we're going to do 2 coats off screen. And then we're going to come back at the end of the episode and see how the paint turned out. And peel the tape, which is turning out to be like one of my very, very favorite processes of this whole thing. So, yeah. I'm just going to come into our lines here. I'm not going to go super crazy trying to, like, get a ton of paint in there. Once again, we are going to be putting 3 coats on, so I'm just going to try to avoid, like, getting paint bleed through. But I imagine that with the Tamiya tape, we should be a-okay. Try to make sure I'm not going too heavy on the paint. Yeah, on the Defiant, I tried really hard not to be super bummed about it, and I kind of still am. And you'll see in the coming episodes if it hasn't already. Where would that be right now? I'm a little ahead right now, so I'm trying to think of, like, where this is going to fall in. Yeah, this is about the same week, actually. So earlier this week, you'll see what I'm talking about. And why we've decided to go ahead and switch over to our different tape. So, yeah. Oh, man. It was a little rough. I was a little upset. But we didn't let it get us down. Went ahead and put together a plan, and the next episode of the Defiant should be pretty good. And if I have my weeks wrong, which could very well be, I'm not spoiling anything too much. Needless to say, there's been a necessity to change up our tape because undesired results. So, okay. And if you've seen the Fets Vet series, which you should also, you know that I've fallen in love with lacquer paint. So this stuff goes on so well. Dries really nice and fast. Dries really evenly. And this is a really good color. I'm really happy with this color. It's perfect for what we're looking for. I imagine we'll be using this color for a long time to come. Okay, so that's the first coat on the top of the hull. So that's what we're looking like there. Now let's go ahead and move on to the bottom of the hull. That inner ring I'm going to use a very small paintbrush for. I'm a little worried about going over the lines there. now I should be using my little paint stand thingy. But we're good. And I'm also realizing this is going pretty quick, so I'm pretty pleased that I've done my tape work beforehand. Took some time. I made sure I took my very close time. Like, I didn't like bother to rush. I took the time to get this done properly so that we're not having to go back. Because I can tell you right now with the Defiant, we're going back. There it is. This stuff goes on so nice. The flat brush is really important here. I'm trying to get a smooth, even paint job. And I realized I should have employed a flat brush in the beginning of the Defiant. So we took that lesson learned there, and we're applying it here. Okay, there's our first ring. Just gonna make sure I got both ends just over the edge. There we go. Let's go ahead and get our inner ring. And I am actually going to go grab my paint stand. I'll be right back. Yeah, that's much better. Yeah. This thing was a miracle. So let's not forget to use it, Jordan. Push this back just a little bit. Move my paint over this way. Across the other side. And this is going to be the same color that we're going to be using on the inner, I guess, the ribs of the neck. It's a terrible phrase, but kind of like it has a similar connection point, the neck to the engineering section, as the Excelsior class. So it's got that weird ribbing in there, and we're going to be using this color in there as well. The thing that I really love about tape, you get the focus on making sure my coats are even. I don't have to worry too much about being super precise. Okay. So I'm just going to come back over. Make sure we're got paint across the entire top. Okay, so now let's go ahead and hit the inner ring. I'm going to go ahead and grab a much smaller brush, and I think an appropriate brush for this one is likely going to be, let's go with super small. So I'm going to use that fine of a detail load brush. I'm going to be very careful. This is a very small ring. Kind of struggled to figure out how to approach this one, and what I did is I just laid a single piece of tape over the top. Used my fingernail, my traditional technique, and ooh, that was close. And use my hobby knife to cut out the edge, so we'll see how that turned out. Oh my goodness, that was close. That was also close. Probably got a little bit over there, if I'm being real. So, oof, need to be a little bit more careful there. And if we did, it's just by a tiny, 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 tiny little bit. So we got lucky. Thankfully, though, this is the lacquer you can clean off of acrylic without pulling the acrylic off. And the airbrush paint is always acrylic, at least from what I'm finding. Okay. So, there we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this dry, and I'm going to come back over, and I'm going to give us 2 more coats across every part that needs the dark gray. And then we're going to come back here at the very end, and we're going to peel some tape in what I feel is to be like one of the most satisfying things ever. So, we shall be back. All right, so I went ahead and dropped on 3 coats of paint and let this dry actually for several hours. I wanted to make sure that we didn't have any peeling going on. And in between, shot the next episode and did some work in a paint booth, did a bunch of editing, and yeah, it's been kind of a day spent doing this model, and it's always kind of fun just spending time on one thing for the week. Now, what I like to say is my favorite part is going to be pulling the tape. Now, the grand experiment is Tamiya the better tape? And I think we already know the answer to that question, but let's go ahead and find out. So we should start at a part where I can pull the tape from the top. Let's go ahead and pull this schmutz from the end here. Let's see how this turned out. Ooh, a little bit of bleed here over on the end, but that's fine. Very nice. Some into the windows a little bit. So curved line tape. Interesting. Interesting. So I'm not really too worried about that, as we are going to be doing some panel line work, and where it did fill in the windows, I'm going to go ahead and just mark those off as dark, but that is kind of interesting. It's kind of interesting with this model is like there's so many panel lines in here that like it's not a surprise that I'm getting bleeding, actually, to be honest. But let's go ahead and see how this turned out overall. Oh yeah, that's pretty good. Although, once again, like I said, we're just going to have to go ahead and accept that, and we'll do our capillary work later on. Although, I got to say, that doesn't look too bad, especially knowing that we're going to be doing our capillary work. So, but the thing overall that I really like is the color differentiation between the 3. I think the 3 of them work really well together. So let's go ahead and pull on. Just a little bit better through there. Okay. Not too bad. Let's go ahead and pull this piece off. Yeah, just some bleeding. I wonder if it's just the thing that we're always going to get with curved line tape, because I really pressed down hard, so that one's nice and clean. Okay. Or it could just be this model. We'll see. But, like I said, I'm not going to worry about it too much because, like I said, we are going to be doing our capillary work, so. Okay. It's not too bad. A little piece of tape right there. Okay. Let's go and grab our last piece here. Okay. So, overall, the effect of the lines surrounding it was exactly what I was looking for. And I think in the next episode that we work on this model, we're going to have to go ahead and do my capillary work in order to me not feel insane about it. So that's just going to be the real of it. And I'm curious to see what the bottom of the model is going to look like now. Oh my goodness. Alright, let's go ahead and see how this turned out up here. I'm assuming this is going to be fine because this is just nice straight line work. Alright. Okay, yeah, that's nice and clean. Went on real nice. Yeah, that's good. I'm happy with that. I'm glad with that turned out. Okay. Alright, so overall, I'm okay with it. What I do like, however, is the color of the dark gray and mixed in with our blue and the light gray. So I think that's going to be a good mix of 3 colors there. So let's go ahead and move on to the bottom. Okay. Now I'm nervous. Let's go ahead and start here on the bottom. Yeah. Bleed for sure. I think it might just be our model. There's just so many of the... But to be fair, along there we didn't have that issue. Curious. But this tape does come off real nice. There we go. Okay, let's see how the inner line worked. Pull that piece out of the way. The effect through here is exactly what I was looking for, and finish filling in that gap. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So, once again, we're not done with the paint yet, is what I'm going to say. So, we get the center line here. Okay, that one turned out a little bit better. Where does our tape start here? It starts right there. Okay. You know, I really like that effect. I don't like the lines, but, you know, hey, so we're not done painting yet. Okay, now, so this is going to be the interesting one. This is just one solid piece that I cut on either side with my X-Acto knife. So... Okay. So, you know, I'm actually not sad about that result. What we're not getting is big chunky bleed through points. I say that, we got one right there. But overall, once we get our capillary work in there, it will be much easier to make that not look so bad. But overall, like, I'm not even gonna say it looks bad, but I'm not, it's crazy the amount of bleed that we got. And I just let this dry. I don't know if I put too much paint on. I don't know. I'm gonna do some research, and if you guys have any tips or tricks, please let me know. Give me some feedback, please, if there's anything I could have done to prevent it, or maybe if it's just the model. I didn't get any of that, but then again, you know, we weren't painting up around here. So here are our pieces, and for the first time in this model, I'm kind of going, alright, so it looks like we got our work cut out for us. That's been the theme of the things, the way this has gone this week, in the last couple weeks, so that's totally fine. But, gotta say, the Tamiya experiment left me a little going, we shall see. Alright, my friends, well, I just want to say thank you. I know that there was a million things y'all could have done today, and instead you spent a couple minutes watching me build a model, which I think is pretty damn cool. If you guys have any questions, comments, tips, tricks, please leave them down below. If you'd like to support the channel, please like, and subscribe. And my friends, until we see each other again, I hope you all have a wonderful day in this beautiful world, wherever you happen to be. And just remember to always live long and prosper.